right. What's up, gang? So yesterday I talked about what the Yankees could possibly get in the Luis Severino trade. There's a lot of mixed opinions on it, and I totally get it. People, are why would they do that when they're in contention and whatnot? So, and I said this, my straight up opinion is if he proves again when he comes back to be healthy and productive, okay, and the Yankees have decided they're not going to sign him to another extension because the fact is the last 4-year deal he got, the Yankees, if he plays the rest of this year, the Yankees will have gotten a year and a half out of 4 years on the $44 million deal that he signed. Okay, that's not a lot of dependable production. So if they decide that they're not going to re-sign him, then they have to consider trading him at the deadline. Okay, and get what they can get. They could probably get some decent value, more than some folks think, if he proves to be healthy, okay, and productive. So today I'm going to talk about what the Yankees could get in the Gleyber Torres trade. Again, probably going to have an influx of different opinions, and I totally get it. But again, when you have a surplus of infielders, which they do, and a credible replacement, which they do, and Oswald Peraza, then it has to consider. That has to be considered, at least in my opinion. And he has a year and a half of team control left, and he's only 26, meaning they can get a lot of value for him. Okay, and if the Yankees think that they can move on from him and still contend, and move on from like a Severino and still contend, then it makes sense to consider, okay? And I'm going to give you two different returns here. And I think the two most logical teams for Gleyber Torres are the White Sox and the Seattle Mariners, okay? The White Sox potentially could go on a full teardown, but they need somebody like Torres as well, and they've already proven they need a dependable second baseman, which they can get in Gleyber Torres, especially offensively. He's still defensively challenged, but they know what they can get. Again, he's streaky, right? He's super hot, and he's super cold, but at the end of the day, a young guy over there, you pair him up with some of those other young infielders and other young players, will probably be a good fit there. There's going to be less pressure over in Chicago than there will be in the Bronx. Now, I'm going to give you my major league package first. Some folks might think it's, if they feel like, why would they trade him and fall out of contention? Well, there's no guarantee they're going to fall out of contention if they trade him or Severino or both of them. No guarantee. Okay, especially if Rodon comes back healthy, especially if they do what I also suggested is in trading for another starter if they move Severino, which they would probably do anyway. Okay, the two most logical fits on the major league side are Lucas Giolito, starting pitcher, right-handed. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. He's 28 years old. And Aaron Bummer, who's a lefty reliever. Again, and I'm of the opinion that we cannot just rely on Wandy Peralta, another lefty. And he's got like 4 controllable years left on the cheap. Okay? If you can somehow extract Bummer and Giolito, even if you add a prospect or two to Gleyber Torres, it makes for a good trade, especially if you don't want any interruption on the major league level. You got a starter and a reliever in one trade here, and you move Gleyber Torres and whoever else you move, okay? And it's not going to cost Peraza or Dominguez and those guys, okay? Now, if you want to go the prospect route, okay, this is their number 7 prospect. This is Christian Mena, okay? He's got huge command, a great command of the strike zone. He's a big arm, and he also projects as a mid-rotation starter, just like Lucas Giolito would. If Cole was here, Cole is here, and if Rodon was healthy, Giolito will probably be the number 3 here, pushing Nestor Cortes probably down to number 4. Okay, so, and if they don't project him as a starter, they can project him as a reliever because he's got experience there too. So you have your major league option, and then you have your prospect option. You could add prospects, in which I'm sure Cashman would go for more than that, but this to me, like a prospect to stand out. And the Yankees are thin on the pitching prospect side. We've said this repeatedly. Okay, they've traded a lot of them away. Even if they weren't great prospects, they traded a lot of them away. Their depth is thin on the AA and AAA level. So a pitching heavy package would be a smart idea, whether it's minor league or major league. So now that's the White Sox. Now we'll move over to the Seattle Mariners, which would probably be, in my opinion, I think they'd be more willing to fork away prospects than because they want to continue developing at the major league level. I think they want to add major league players to the guys that they spent a boatload on over the last couple of years, like Robbie Ray and Luis Castillo and the rest of them. Okay, and I think they're going to be in the running for Shohei Ohtani this offseason too, if they don't trade for him at the deadline, or if he's not traded for and extended by someone else at the deadline. But this is Brian Wu. He's a number 6 prospect, a right-handed pitcher. Now, he is back from Tommy John, and I always hesitate when I see somebody linked to Tommy John, but it was several years ago. This guy's got a huge arm. His fastball ranges between 96 and 99 miles an hour. Okay. He also has good delivery and mechanics as well, and he's a top strikeout guy in Arizona Fall League. Okay. And so he's got a big arm. He could project as a power starter for the Yankees. And then you have Jonathan Clase. I think it's Clase or Clase. He's the number 12 prospect in outfielder. And again, pitching and outfielder, okay? Pitching and outfield. There's no guarantee they're going to re-sign Bader. So if they don't, this guy would be a good fit to add to the outfield stable. I know they got Spencer Jones and other folks, Neeson Dominguez, but you never know. Adding one guy here can't hurt. He's the number 12 prospect. He's the fastest runner in the entire Seattle system. Okay, and what stood out to me is he had, not only did he have 13 home runs and 463 slugging last year in 22, he had 55 stolen bases. Add a guy like that to Anthony Volpe, he's looking to be like a base stealing machine, and you have a lot of disruption and chaos on those base paths. Okay, he's only 5'8", but he has power and speed to go along with his miniature, well, not miniature, diminutive, whatever, his short stature, short height. Nobody cares about that, okay? But that type of speed is an attractive weapon, okay, in the outfield especially. Especially, you guys got like Bader. He covers ground everywhere. He's fast as hell, and I hope they extend him. But we need speed on the corner outfielders too. We don't get a lot of it from Stanton when he plays, okay? And we get a decent amount from Judge, but we want to have these guys the ability to DH too well. We want to have some speed everywhere in the outfield. And I think the Mariners will probably be more willing to fork over a prospect package rather than major league package. I would love to get Andres Munoz, their closer. I'm just not sure they're willing to do it. If they are, it's going to cost more than Gleyber Torres to get him. And but I'd be willing to consider that package as well. But I think they're going to want to add rather than subtract. And they have a farm that's good enough to give the Yankees what they would need. And and this is the other thing too. I don't think the Yankees would have a massive step back if they traded Torres and or Severino. I don't think they would, especially if you move Severino and you got some, and you made another pitching trade in return, or if you move Torres and got those pitchers from the White Sox. I don't think they would have a step back, really, especially with a healthy Stanton back and Bader producing, DJ healthy. Like, there's enough here, and I think that Oswald Peraza would credibly replace some of Gleyber Torres' offense, and he would definitely be an upgrade on defense. So, they would not tank after trading Torres and or Severino. This is not like trading Cole and Judge. This is trading Torres and Severino. Again, if Severino's not going to come back, you trade him. You get something back for him. You don't let him walk for nothing. Same thing goes for Gleyber Torres. If you have a player who can replace him and you get good value back, you have to consider it. And I'm confident not everybody's going to agree with me. Okay, but we're going to continue to talk about this stuff. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, I hope that you enjoy the content enough to do that and join them on the live streams. We talk about those. Talk about all different types of stuff, and I always respond to comments too. So we're going to get more into this stuff as we start getting into the season and getting closer to the trade deadline. So it's going to get more fun. So join us for the ride. All right. I'll be back later with the Yankees lineup against Toronto for Game 3. They've won the first two. They've already, if you haven't heard, they've already lost Domingo Germán for a potential 10-game suspension for being an idiot. Okay, and they might lose Ian Hamilton to the to the injured list as well for tightness in his groin. I would probably expect him to go on a 10 or 15-day list so they can call up a pitcher for the bullpen to replace him. They cannot replace Germán's spot with the suspension. Okay, so they're going to have to play with a 25-man roster until Luis Severino comes back this weekend. It bumps him up to 26. So that's the way it's got to be, unfortunately. But I'm confident that, and again, the worst that they could do, excuse me, allergies. The worst they could do right now is split the series, just like they split Tampa. So they are playing better ball, and oh my God, the vibe on this team, the vibe in this clubhouse, is so much different than it was a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you could see it. I definitely see it. So they're playing with focus. They're playing with energy. They're pissed off, a little bit of an edge now, and I like the fact that they're retaliating or just calling baloney out, bullshit out. Okay. Tactics from other teams, right? Or just whatever, baloney criticism. So I like that. This is the type of edge we need to see on the Yankees more often. So, and I hope, and I am confident we'll get some more of it with Rodon coming back, Severino coming back, so, and Stanton coming back, who's one of the intimidators in the lineup, who does make his teammates around him better, even if he's not carrying a cover off the ball right away. Doesn't matter. People are afraid to pitch to him. So, but that's what I got for you right now. Talk to you later with the lineup, and we'll hopefully celebrate the third consecutive win tonight. Go Yankees.